Welcome to Lair the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, my top 10 albums of 2022. I'm going to be doing a video early in January where I'm going to have a bunch of guests on, subscribers, viewers out there. I've put a poll out there seeing if anybody would be interested in sharing their top 5 of 2022. So we've got that video coming up with your top 5 picks, but this is my top 10 of 2022. I thought I would put mine out here on my own. So I made a pledge to myself at the beginning of 2022 that I was going to listen to a lot of new music, and I was pretty good about that. I've talked about how I had Apple Music has a playlist, Breaking Metal. I really tried to stay on top of that. I had my own playlist. I was constantly adding things, taking things off. So it was pretty hard to sort of narrow it down to 10. Some bands, I did really like the music, but they got knocked out, maybe for production reasons. I've said on the channel here before about how I'm not a fan of the loudness wars, overcompressed, fatiguing sounding mixes. And so unfortunately there were some really good albums that I just couldn't get past the mix on them, so they got knocked off my list. But here's my top 10 for 2022. Starting at number 10 was for me Porcupine Tree with Closure Continuation. I'm kind of late to Porcupine Tree. This is a band that I've heard people ask me about in comments, and I've had one or two of their CDs back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I've got to say it never really totally clicked for me. But this particular album, I listened to it and I just love it. I thought it was great. Now, talking about albums that are affected by the loudness wars, this is the exact opposite. This album has tons of dynamic range on it. It's very punchy. The guitars, the mix just sounds fantastic. It should be no surprise. Steve Wilson, he's made a name for himself now, doing all these fantastic remixes and being involved in all these projects for taking old albums, remixing them, and doing things. So this was just a great album. Heavy stuff, but also a lot of textural stuff, a lot of sort of trippy, psychedelic, proggish type stuff. So it's an album that I really enjoyed. Came in at number 10 for me. All right, number 9 was the only real extreme band on my list. I had a couple others that almost made it on here, Belphegor and Behemoth, but the mixes were just so messy, so fatiguing, so sort of splattered and everything. They just got knocked out of my list, honestly. But the band Tribulation, and the album is called The Damn Fear, and it's actually a 3-song, so I guess EP, but I really liked it. I'm very picky about my extreme metal. This has sort of a black metal sound to it, like with the vocal delivery, but the riffs are really catchy. The mix is really good. You can hear everything. It's very sort of atmospheric and moody, and the songs build very well. So that came in at number 9 for me. Number 8 for me in my top 10 of 2022 is Mythosphere with Pathological. I just made a video not long ago, did a review of this record. I really loved it. Old school, kind of progressive doom metal, but with some 70s vibes to it, some traditional metal vibes to it. Fantastic singing, fantastic playing from everybody, and the production on the album is great. So that comes in at number 8 for me, Mythosphere with Pathological. Number 7 was Therion with their album Leviathan 2. Can't say I'm a huge power metal fan, but I do like Therion because I think they sort of do it differently, and I like this sort of symphonic element that they bring to their music. Also on this album, there's not a lot of times where there's just one person singing by themselves. It's a lot of like choirs and multiple voices, mixtures of male and female voices, and I really like that. It has this sort of operatic, classical feel to a lot of the album. The production on it is fantastic. There's just so much stuff going on with it, with the instrumentation and the vocals, especially. The vocals are really what makes this album for me. The layers of voices and all the different things that the voices do. I really liked. So Therion Leviathan 2 at number 7 for me. Okay, number 6 was Scorpions Rock Believer. This one sort of bounced in and out of my list, and I actually had it out of my list not that long ago, but then I revisited the album, and man, it just reminded me of what a fun album it is, and just I had so much fun listening to it. The Scorpions admit themselves that it's sort of a throwback album to their classic sound. And it just takes me right back to that sort of late 70s, early 80s Scorpions. And just the songs are just so catchy. It's just such a fun album that I really enjoy it. So it lands up high on my list here, number 6. Number 5, Saxon, Carpe Diem. Boy, what a great album. Classic, traditional, early 80s, new wave of British heavy metal sound, and it's just top to bottom just a great album. I love the album cover. The band sounds great. Biff sounds great. The songs are great. Killer riffs all over it. The production was really good. So that lands at number 5 for me. Number 4, Ghost Impera. I know that Ghost is kind of a divisive band. It's kind of like a love-hate band, but I've always liked Ghost. I'm a sucker for big hooks and big melodies, and there's a lot of that all over this record. I think the production on it is good. There's a lot of bass guitar and bass frequency in it, and I just love Ghost. I love hooks, and there's a lot of hooks on this album, so Ghost comes in at number 4. Number 3 for me is Avatarium with Death, Where Is Your Sting? Avatarium is a female-fronted 70s doom metal, 70s influence mixed in there, and this is just, oh man, a great album. It's produced by the guitar player Marcus Yedel, and the production is great. There's fantastic guitar playing all over this record. He mixes up the sound of his guitar, something you don't hear many people do at all anymore. It reminds me of like Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page, how Jimmy Page was always using different guitars, getting different guitar sounds. That all over here, the lead singer, lead vocalist, Yenny Ann Smith, she has an amazing, beautiful voice. And it is just a fantastic album. The songs are so catchy, a lot of diversity, a lot of different things going on. Slow, beautiful songs, heavy, doomy songs. Love it. Absolutely amazing album. All right, number 2 for me is Ozzy, Patient Number 9. This might have been the biggest surprise because I wasn't that big of a fan of Ordinary Man, and this goes a little bit against some of the other things I mentioned earlier, like the production on this is pretty crushed. But on Apple Music, you can listen to this album in Dolby Atmos, and it really has a much different feel. It's way more spacious, way easier on the ears. Man, it's just an album that I just kept coming back to, and I kind of thought, like, okay, when it first came out, I was really into it. Darren and I talked about it on a Sabbath Sunday episode, how much we really liked it. And I thought, all right, maybe this is going to wear off, but it never really did. And I kept coming back to this record. The songs are catchy. Ozzy sounds really energized and energetic. The guest guitar players and musicians on the record make it really interesting. You would think it would not be very cohesive with all these different musicians and everything in there, but it works. And it really just comes down to the songs, and there's just a lot of really great catchy songs, and I just kept finding myself frequently coming back to this album and listening to it over and over again. All right, my number 1 album for 2022 is Candlemass, Sweet Evil Son. I'm a huge doom metal fan. I worship Candlemass. I'm a huge Candlemass fan. I really liked the album when I first got it, and when I got it on vinyl, it opened up for me even more. Leif Edling, the bass player, songwriter of the band, is in my opinion one of the best songwriters in heavy metal. It doesn't disappoint on here. Johan Lundqvist, who sang on Epicus, sang on their last album. He's here again. He sounds fantastic on it. The band sounds great. Lars Johansson is a criminally underrated guitar player, in my opinion. He's the best of Uli Roth and Michael Schenker. He's got the blues, the classical sound, and always fantastic solos. I just love the whole band. The album is great from beginning to end. The songs are heavy, they're dark, they're doomy, they're catchy. The production is really powerful. It's just a great album from top to bottom, and it came out not really that long ago. But the more I listen to it, I seem to like it more and more. I really liked it from the first time I heard it, and the more I listen to it, I like it more and more. And it was a little bit lower on my list, but again, it's grown on me so much, and I had to put it at number one because it's just such a fantastic album. All right, there you go. There's my top 10 of 2022. Look out. We're going to be making a video with viewers and subscribers here. Everybody's sharing their top 5 of 2022. If you want to wait till, if you're going to be in the video, if you want to wait till you share yours, or if you want to leave it in the comments, you're not going to be in the video, let me know in the comments some of your favorites from 2022. Let me know what you think of some of my picks. Like I said, it was a really good year. There was a lot of really great stuff, and I could have easily, the top 5 here, because it could have easily been swapped out with 3 to 5 other albums. I could have made a top 20, no problem. So it was a great year. It was really a fun year, and I'm looking forward to 2023 and the albums that are going to be coming out then. All right, so let me know your picks. Let me know what you think of my picks. Till we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.